Look, I know the future is coming at us fast, but I think employers are taking the piss a little bit when they seem to think that their employees really are robots and don't need any kind of breaks at all. I want to walk you through two examples where an employee was able to take their employer to tribunal because they didn't provide enough rest breaks. And hopefully you can get a sense of what is and isn't legal here in the UK when it comes to getting some rest. Most UK employees have a basic set of rest breaks built into their statutory rights. The first one is if you work more than 6 hours a day, you have a right to an uninterrupted 20-minute break, which may not have to be paid, but has to be there and has to be uninterrupted. You also have the right to have 11 hours between shifts. So if you finish at 8 p.m., then you shouldn't have to start until 7 a.m. the next day. And there's a right to rest overall. So workers either have a right to one period of rest of at least 24 hours each week or 48 hours every fortnight. So here's a good example of this playing out in the employment tribunal, where an employee was left in a store completely alone for an entire day. So that employee had no way of taking their uninterrupted 20-minute break, which could be away from their place of work if they wanted it to be, because if she did, she would have either had to have closed the store or, left the store open for a bunch of people to rob the store. And in the end, she even had to get a security guard involved just to be able to pop to the loo. So that was found to be illegal because she wasn't able to take that break. Now let's look at a slightly more detailed example, and this is where it gets really interesting. Not only do you have the right to a 20-minute break uninterrupted if you work more than 6 hours, but you also have the right to know in advance when that break is going to happen. So in this case, someone was a carer. And yes, that person that they're caring for might fall asleep and they can take a break at that point, but they had no way of knowing when or if that break would come, and they also had no way of knowing if that break was going to be interrupted. And because they didn't know about their break times in advance, they were found to not have been legally given their rest breaks, and the employer was required to pay compensation. So for that 20-minute break to be legal, you need to know about when it's going to be in advance. It has to be uninterrupted, and you have to be able to actually leave where you are and go somewhere else. And if you're not getting those things, then you're not getting a legal rest break.